Hello, everyone. I am Danny Wigfall, and this is the Design Your Remarkable Life podcast. Here, I interview incredible individuals who are leaving their mark on the world, generating wealth, and charting their own course. So get your notepads out and let's get into it. So excited. Welcome to the show. I'm so happy to have Priscilla Estrada, one of my good and dear friends. And I've had the privilege of being trained by her for a little stint of time while I was in LA. She is the owner of San Fernando Fitness and ClimbFit Studio. She is a woman's health coach, all about the women. She is a strength and conditioning coach and a VersaClimber instructor. Can you tell us, Priscilla, what is VersaClimbing? What is that?
So, VersaClimber, hello everyone. Thank you
Yeah.
for having me, Danny.
Yeah.
Uh, so, VersaClimber is a machine that was created back in the 80s. And the guy who created Richard, he created this machine keeping, um, he had retired after being an engineer, and his second life one day was sitting out on a bleachers and saw a sports team running up and down the stairs, and he said that he's never turned off his brain after retirement and created this machine. And for a few decades, it was mainly used. NASA has used it, especially with like astronauts out in space who can't don't have that gravity like we do down here. Military. It's also been in rehab centers, and a couple years before the pandemic, there was a few studios out here in LA and West Hollywood who started doing their own rhythm-based classes.
Mhm.
And Louis, who's actually the global master trainer of the company, he created his own rhythm-based program and partnered up with VersaClimber. And people ask, why are most people now just finding out about VersaClimber? Well, a few things. You would only find these in certain areas and either in higher end gyms
Mhm.
or wealthy family homes. And keep in mind that if most people just see this machine at a gym, we really don't know how to use it because it's a full body workout. It's about a 75-degree tilt, and you're climbing up and down, and you're using your entire body. So, yeah, and then we actually found this machine one year going into the pandemic,
Mhm.
and my father, actually, who's my business partner, saw a video of LeBron James using this machine and went on VersaClimber's page and saw that there was studios, locations, and went into that the map and did not see any map in the San Fernando Valley. So we took a big leap of faith during the pandemic and invested into 10 machines. And we've been building our program since. And we've been there for 12 years in the heart of San Fernando. My uncle, who's my dad's younger brother, he started the company. He was like a brother. He's 13 years older than me, and I've been involved since the very beginning. Back in 2017, my father and I partnered up and we took over the business. We rebranded, changed the name during the pandemic, and that was one of the scariest things, while at the same time investing into 10 machines. And so now we are operating as San Fernando Fitness and ClimbFit Studio. Now, we have multiple programs. We have not only our ClimbFit Studio program, we have Functional Fit and Boxing Fit. We are a strength and conditioning sports performance facility. And you can hear it in my voice how I've gained a lot of clarity in the direction of who we are. And yeah, we are in a predominantly Latino based community. When we opened up 12 years ago, it was mostly boxing clubs around the area. And there were these crazy people running outside doing workouts. And I have grown with the gym over the past 12 years. I was 21 when we opened. I'm now 33 years young.
Mhm. Yeah.
And it's been quite the journey of finding myself through, first of all, through my relationship with God.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, for those that don't know, Danny and I actually met, I think, in about 2017, 2018, at C3 Los Angeles. And thanks to you, you introduced me to Freedom Church, where I'm still currently a part of. And that was around the time when I took over the business. I grew up dancing my whole life, and that was the same year that dance came back into my life. And since then, I've been salsa dancing my life away and finding my voice and my purpose, where God has planted me. And yeah, I know I'm just going down a rabbit hole, but um, yeah, thank you for having me, Jenny.
No, thank you for being on. I remember I was like, wow, who is this woman that owns her own gym? Because usually when I hear about a gym owner, I think of a bro or a guy, right? And I'm like, who is this woman? And not only do you own your own gym, you really take care of the community around you. You're
Mm.
involved. And I love that about you. Also, when I was getting trained by you, my first time I was like, okay, let's see what we got. I had a little bit of fitness back in the day, fitness training, and I was like, okay, let's see what Priscilla has. And you were the first person to help me with my knee injury and to show me how to take care of it properly without re-injuring it, but also how I don't stop my fitness, but how to work around it, you know?
Mm.
And that was powerful for me because when your knee is injured, and I injured my knee doing CrossFit, no comments there, but just got injured doing CrossFit, and you were literally the first person where I was like, oh my goodness, I can get back into my fitness. I can do this. And that's such a huge point, especially for anyone that wants to work on their health, their physical health. And you really championed me during that time. And I don't even think you realize how much that meant to me. But
Mm.
like when you're injured after being physical for so long, it can really take a damper on your confidence, how you feel about yourself, and then it can
Yeah.
just snowball into a lot of things. So I thought
Mm.
I was out for the count, until you showed me like, no, let me show you proper form. Let me show you how to do this the right way. Let me show you precautions, and I still never forgot that. I still do those to this day,
I
just
love
out of
that.
that. So I really appreciate you for that. And just seeing how much you care about people. When we were in there in the gym, and I was like, wow, she really cares. It's not just you showing different movements and going along and just like, hey, hoorah. It's like we can really see your heart, and that really mattered to me. Yeah,
And
you're amazing.
I thank you. And I receive that. It has definitely been a journey on learning how to use my voice,
Mhm.
uh, especially being around a masculine environment. In the very beginning, I used to try to match my uncles and some of the men in the gym's energy because I had to learn how to use my voice with them when it came to strength and conditioning because Olympic weightlifting, powerlifting, that is my foundation. And I'm very grateful that I was exposed to that at an early age, but also having that high masculine energy towards other women as well can be a little intimidating. And uh, salsa dancing definitely changed my life because it has challenged me to learn how to tap more into my feminine energy and, for lack of a better word, be submissive during this moment in time that you're having with another individual. And I get comments till this day on, wow, like you look so great when you're salsa dancing. And more than anything, it's because I've built these relationships with friends on the dance floor that you've been dancing with for years. And as a woman, I feel comfortable and safe to be able to let go. And that taught me a lot about my relationship with my father. And there's other things that I can say that has challenged me to learn how to tap both into these energies, because at the end of the day we do need both, but also cold plunges has also taught me how to be more submissive and just relax in a chaotic environment.
Mhm.
And I get asked all the time, like, what works when it comes to health and wellness. And really it's just a little bit of everything.
Mhm.
And there's really no exact thing. More than anything, I believe that you have to have God first on everything, first, second, and third, and last on everything and above. And that's where you can start allow yourself to tap in and find out what your purpose is and how
Mhm.
to utilize your voice. And I feel that a lot of us women, especially for thousands of generations, we've had to protect, stay back with the family, with the kids, while the men are out doing what they need to do to protect us.
Mhm.
And I think now more than ever, women are now speaking up about the pain and the trauma they've had to endure.
Mhm.
But at the same time, we're still operating in this masculine energy because we are doing things that we're not used our ancestors were not used to, now being out more in the workspace, and now dominating industries that and for lack of a better word, using dominating, but I've walked into rooms where I'm the only Latina, the only
Mhm.
minority,
Mhm. Mhm.
and it's been the journey on. And as a dancer, dancing has also taught me how to be expressive and how to um, tap into multiple like energies when you're freestyling. And as women, we see things in colors. We and men, for most part, see things black and white.
Mhm. Mhm.
And but we're trying to see things black and white when our strength is seeing things in color.
Mhm. Mm. Give me an example of like this is in color and this might be black and white. Or what do you see as like a trend as far as like how women may express versus men?
I think some women forget that we go through different phases in different cycles.
Mhm.
Men also go through different phases in a different way, but we hormonally experience different things with our bodies.
Mhm.
Uh, I, I don't know where I saw this, but it was something about giving advice for like couples, someone on stage. I just remember seeing this on Instagram, and he was saying that when a woman says the sky is blue to a partner, believe her. But then a few days later, she says the sky is purple, believe her.
Mhm.
And when it comes down to our health, we we basically when we're menstruating, our body is preparing us to be able to carry a
Mhm.
child.
Yeah.
Ultimately, that's what really that is. And our hormones are meant for different things in different phases leading up to that.
Mhm.
And there's parts of our cycles that we can be creative, and there's times where we can probably be more logical. And after 12 years of being in this industry, I do hear more and more women crying for help as we get older
Yeah.
because what we're doing now or when since we're young is going to prepare us ultimately for when we get older, and women peak sooner than men,
Mhm.
which is why we go through menopause. And so I am really excited that I'm also growing my knowledge and my my support and service to other women,
Yeah.
finishing up a couple certifications to be a specialist in women's health and menopause.
Mhm.
And all it really comes down to is it's a combination of different things, from the foods we eat, the people we hang out with, our environment, um, our spiritual relationship,
Yeah.
and we all have it in our DNA to. We all have a purpose in this life,
Mhm.
and if we're not reflecting on who we are and what our core values are and who we are as a person,
Yeah.
then we can't be given to service of others. And I've
Mm-hmm.
definitely gone through many phases throughout these 12 years. And it's really allowed me to go through these phases of pouring into myself so that I can pour out into others. So, long story short, we go through different phases of creativity, and collaboration is something that us as women really thrive off of for thousands of generations.
Mm-hmm.
And but unfortunately, now with easier access to resources, junk food, a lot of different forms of pleasure, uh, that we are not prioritizing our health.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I feel like health is one of the first things to go. Like when things
Mhm.
start to get busier or a little bit more chaotic or whatever it may be, throw in like the wrench and everything. It's like health is one of the first things to go. How do we stick to our health, being that if we don't have our health, we don't have anything, right? Our health can take us away from everything and anything that we love. If, let's say, if I am starting off on my health journey and I just need help, I don't know anything whatsoever, what should be some of my first steps?
One of my favorite books that I always recommend clients is Atomic Habits. And in Atomic Habits, he talks about how to build habits. And really, when I think of habits, I think of routine. I think of mundane. I think of the boring things.
Mhm.
And that's where it starts off is knowing that if we can conquer our morning and night routines, we can conquer our day.
Mhm.
And morning and night routines is really where our health begins and ends based off of how we're preparing for the next day.
Yeah. Mhm.
And long story short is keeping it simple, starting one day at a time. In the book, it talks about the 2 minute rule is committing to a task for 2 minutes,
Mhm.
and then tomorrow 3 minutes. And then next thing you know, you're building a habit. But it first starts with our mindset, is the belief aspect. And be, do, have. You got to be it to do it to have it. Let me just share a little bit more of my journey through the fitness scene. When it's one thing to start a business from scratch, it's
Mhm.
another thing to take over and make it into your own. And there's been certain events in my family's life and with the business that has challenged me to really dig within.
Yeah.
And I'm very grateful 1 year into the me taking over the business, I was nominated to do this all women's program at the Dr. Yasmin Institute. Our director was Dr. Yasmin. It was all women's program, and it was 25 women, Latina women, and I was one of the youngest of those 25. And it was a combination of entrepreneurs, women who are boards of nonprofit organizations, um, who have executive roles in certain companies. And the year after that, her program changed into multicultural.
Mhm.
But I got to experience the last cohort of Latina women.
Mhm.
And that program taught me to find what my true north was.
Mm.
And I since then, my true north has gotten clear, but more than anything, my core values and the mission hasn't changed.
Okay.
There's just much more clarity now in the direction of both of my businesses.
Mm.
So 1 year going in, a few months before the pandemic, my father and I had went to a business event. It was a weekend event, with 60 other gym owners. And that event, we left with San Fernando Fitness in our hearts. And a few months later, the pandemic hit, and that's when we said, if it's now or never. And San Fernando Fitness, we changed it, and it was a scary thing during an unexpected time, but because the core values and mission hasn't changed, there's a reason why we ended up finding the VersaClimber machines.
Mm.
And now I found a program where I can combine my love for dance and music with strength and conditioning. Because that's what it is. It's a strength conditioning machine. It's a sports performance machine.
Mm-hmm.
So we are operating now as San Fernando Fitness and ClimbFit Studio. But I want to encourage everyone, especially women. And I know this is hard because we are always in service of others, but we can't do it all. So for the longest, I thought I wanted to expand and open another San Fernando Fitness somewhere in the valley with the same name.
Mm-hmm.
But last year I went to an event. It was a convention. And when you go to conventions, you just want that one nugget.
Yeah.
And the one nugget that I came back, it was the Vault Conference in Miami back in September. I came back with knowing that I am looking for partners within San Fernando Fitness so that I can focus and expanding and franchising ClimbFit Studio.
Mm. Oh, that's beautiful. I love that. And I can
And this is the
imagine.
first time I'm saying it publicly.
Yes, we'll put it out there. That's exciting. You heard it here first, people.
I
That's
was
so
working with a business coach recently, and that was my biggest. I had already known, but working with her encouraged me to now finally feel comfortable to say that.
yeah.
And I had to go through some exercises to get through my limiting beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
Although I'm always going to be a part of San Fernando Fitness, always.
Yeah.
But the model is great,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a lot of work to duplicate.
Yeah.
And with VersaClimber, it's a 30-minute program,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a full body workout, and there is no other machine like it. And yeah, I know that ClimbFit Studio is meant to be in multiple locations.
Come to Dallas, please.
There's actually not one in Dallas.
Yes,
So,
you did it.
and ClimbFit Studio is our brand. I actually came up with the name. My mom is a big part of the tech side. She's super smart in that. My dad is more of the innovator. He's the one that found the machine. And now, for the first time in a very long time, I have a team that wants more. They want to grow.
Mm-hmm.
And I do hear others say often that it's really hard to find good people, business owners.
Mm-hmm.
And I see it and I believe it. But I believe that we need to first find out who we are
Yeah.
to be able to attract the right people
Mm-hmm.
and take accountability in anything and everything that happens to your business.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good.
So, and that's why I knew that if I don't share my vision with both of the businesses, it's not going to happen,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
or it
Absolutely.
just might take a lot longer. But everything has its time and its purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to take a step back earlier this year. I lost one of my grandmothers 3 years ago, and I was raised by both of my grandmothers, who
Sorry.
are my everything. And back in January earlier this year, my father's father passed away 3 days going into the 5 days going into the pandemic. And it really forced me to because Priscilla's a yes girl.
Yeah.
And I had committed to multiple things this year. And I had to pretty much say no to majority of these things
Mm-hmm.
and people.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to ask myself, in order for me to lead by example to my team, I need to get more clear on who Priscilla is and who is her niche client.
Yeah.
And I'm a visionary. I'm always daydreaming. And I always have known that I'm going to travel in the health and fitness scene somehow.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't know how.
Yeah. Yeah.
And and I know that once, my business grows and we expand,
Mm-hmm.
I still want to be of service to others and continue to work one-on-one um with my niche client. And I realized this year that it will get to the point where I'm only working with business women one on one
Yeah. Ah.
to support them with their health,
Yeah.
because I know that our lifestyle is completely different from 9 to 5. And I've worked with enough moms to understand certain lifestyles and recommendations and feedback. But it's also encouraged me to level up my knowledge. And
Mhm.
that's why I can now confidently say I am a women's health coach. I'll soon become a women's health consultant to support them and their business. And um, if I can prove that it can also support their business,
Mhm.
then why not invest in your health?
Yep. Yeah. Absolutely.
But also invest in your team's health.
Mhm.
And wellness in the workspace is, for a lot, especially a lot of small businesses, it's one of the last things that's on our list of priorities.
Mhm. Mhm.
But if we prioritize the wellness in the workspace, those internal clients, which is your team,
Yeah.
or those that are going to take care of your external clients.
Yep. Yep. Oh, that's so key, Priscilla. That is so key. I see that so much in my industry as well. I
Mm,
work with a lot of high performing women that work at
yeah.
these top notch companies. And even let's say startups, but great startups have a lot of investment, a lot of funding behind them, backing behind them, great
Yeah.
impact, great mission. Um, but they're burning out because when you have these high performing women, more is asked of them and more is asked of them, right? And sometimes we're not as good with setting different boundaries and taking care of ourselves through that process. It goes back to what you're saying, is like serving others or serving the mission, right? And the mission usually is never us. It's
Mm,
usually either the job or something for someone else, which I'm not saying that's totally wrong, but it has to find some balance within there, to swing into focusing on that health piece, because I see that a lot with my clients. Um, and it tends to lead to
mhm.
burnout.
And the cliches to say this, but health is wealth. And I
Yeah.
believe health is related towards God,
Mhm.
because health is in different ways, but it starts first with our connection.
Mhm.
And yeah, our body is a temple. This body is not ours. Rent is due every single day, and we can't pour out of an empty cup.
Mhm.
And performance, we optimization, being able to optimize at our highest level so that we can be of service to others,
Yeah.
because service is a form of health as well.
Mhm. Absolutely.
And you said about, putting others before, and you're a mother yourself. And I'm very aware that as moms and as women, we always put others before us. And if I just want to encourage women to really focus on that first and last hour of the day, because that's where everything starts and
Mm.
ends.
Yeah.
And it's setting the boundaries of to your spouse and your kids, and it's going to take a few times, and it's more of like, hey, I just want to know that at, this time, this is mommy's time. And it's going to be take some time, but uh I encourage women, parents, that as soon as you're done putting others before you, right away go into some type of skincare routine to
Mm-hmm.
really start that evening routine and already be in that flow of winding down
Yeah.
versus going on your phone, or and the next thing you know, the next day comes, you don't have any food, or your gym clothes weren't set apart, and
Yeah.
that's why you don't go to the gym.
Yeah.
So the next day starts the night before.
Yeah, that's good. I like that. Yeah, it does. The next day starts the night before. That should be on the t-shirt. I love that. Okay, I have a question, Priscilla, because you started this journey at 21, and I feel like you are a unicorn in this space, meaning there's a lot of I'm the only this, right? Only Latina, only
Mhm,
woman,
mhm.
only, there's so only one at this age, there's a lot of that. If you were to go back and speak to 21-year-old Priscilla, about to start this gym and go on this journey of entrepreneurship, what would you tell her?
That everything still worked out.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would change anything, because I feel that there's certain things that have happened in my life that have prepared me for where I'm at today.
Yeah.
Growing up, all I knew was the word cancer,
Mhm.
and I had lost four family members at a young age to health related reasons.
Yeah.
And it's no coincidence why I'm actually in this industry.
Yeah. Mhm.
Although there's always that, I wish I would have told them one last thing.
Mhm. Mhm.
But the more I learn and grow in the health and fitness space, the more I can see that my purpose is to help others not have to experience what I went through
Mhm.
or what their loved ones have gone through.
Yeah. 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 The work you're doing is impacting generations. So not even
Hmm.
just the people that you meet, but the people that they meet as well too. you know and it's one of those things too where it's looking back, we always wish we could have done more, we could have done more, we could have said more. But at some point it's not on you to hold that guilt, right? It's not on you to hold that, right? But
Hmm.
now using that as your motivation to move forward and continue doing like you're doing, inspiring these different communities of people that then are going to touch so many other people too, right?
Hmm.
That's beautiful because I think you don't even get to see all of the people that you're impacting. But it's one of those things where you're building generational wealth outside of yourself. And I think that's beautiful. If I was a 21-year-old and I wanted to, own my own fitness studio, like practically, how would I go about that? How would I do that? What would you suggest for me?
Find somewhere where you can grow as an entrepreneur first.
So, like maybe like a
Because
networking business.
in another fitness gym for some time, have some experience,
Yeah, that's good.
and learn how to sell.
Ooh, key. That is so key. Learn how to sell. Do you have any one nugget on teaching us how to sell? How?
I'm still learning as I grow, but uh, the reason why I share that is because the fitness industry is oversaturated.
Mm-hmm.
However, we are not going to lose to AI anytime soon in regards to the one-on-one. However, it is much easier to research if you type in your weight, your like macros, things like that, like it can, but it's not personalized.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And one of the ways we shifted at San Fernando Fitness is having more of that long-term approach. And everything now that I'm doing now, Danny, with my business, especially this year,
Mhm.
is I actually switched into more of a trainer forward approach.
Mhm. What does that look like? Tell us about that.
Everything that I'm doing now, I'm asking myself if this can be duplicated. The direction that I see myself heading, well, ClimbFit Studio heading just specifically,
Mhm.
is I want to make sure that once I'm ready to expand that, I have the right partners.
Yeah. Mhm.
And I don't know when that's going to be. That can be in a year, something can happen in 5 months. I don't know.
Mhm.
Um, if I don't pour into my team,
Yeah.
it's not going to be duplicated, and I won't be able to attract and retain a team that wants to do this full time for the long term.
Mhm. That's good.
So these past few months, this is the first time that now I have head coaches in all of my programs, and we've been able to build a program that's called the Change Your Life program.
Ooh.
And the acronym stands for We Guarantee Change Through Character, Habits, Accountability, Nutrition, Growth, and Exercise.
Love it.
And what we did was we created 6 weeks of educational content. We created 5 ebooks together. Um, it's a 6 week education based accountability program where whenever you sign up, you start the following Monday.
Yeah.
And everyone is on different weeks. So you start on your own day one. We're launching this actually in June in a couple weeks. And there we have an accountability group chat. Just giving you some bullet points. We have accountability group chat, and every Friday there has to be a task submitted, whether if you're on week 1 or week 6,
Yeah.
and you get a fitness assessment in the very beginning and then one at the end, the same one, 6 weeks. And on the 6 week mark, when you're done with the 6 week of educational content and the weekly tasks, then
Mhm.
you get a 30-minute nutrition coaching session. And we are trying to guide, we are doing our best, not we are, let me rephrase that. We are here to guide and educate our clients and give them the tools that they need so they don't need us anymore, but enough that they want to continue working with us.
Yeah.
And so anyone that wants to join our accountability nutrition program does have to go through the change program. And then if interested, then that's what those one-on-one ongoing sessions are, where we can continue to grow and educate you on how to properly count macros, things like that. And you learn more about your body. And it took all this work leading up to the exponential growth as a Priscilla this
Yeah.
year that I've had to go through to think about the long term programs for my team and my clients.
Mm.
And as coaches, we fitness health coaches, we do not get as much credit as we should
Yeah.
because we're keeping people out of hospitals.
Mhm.
I want to make sure that everything that I leave behind with my business can be duplicated and it can help many families financially through my business, um, and just long-term health. So, on a side note, I started the San Fernando podcast a year ago, and it's crazy because we haven't launched our first episode yet, but the platform grew because for 3 solid months, my partner, who's my really good friend John, and I were just promoting events happening every week for 2 months.
Wow.
And last year, I had written on my vision board omnipresence as my theme for last year. If you
Mhm.
know what omnipresence, it means multiple locations at once. And I felt like I fulfilled that with my platform last year. And this year, 3 days going into the pandemic, I was fasting for 3 days. I was doing a water fast. I was decluttering my room. I did my vision board and I wrote duplication. And 5 days later, my grandfather passed away and he lived a beautiful, if it wasn't for him, my family wouldn't be here in the States. And it was a beautiful celebration of life. The stories that I heard during his funeral,
Yeah.
there was over 400 people who came to his funeral, really made me realize that this is what it means on who shows up to your funeral.
Yeah.
And what happened with my upbringing of losing loved ones to health related reasons, this year was the push that I needed on how I can continue to help more families and people to be out of the hospital.
Yeah.
And Priscilla committed to a lot of things and was everywhere. But by me writing duplication on my vision board, I felt God was challenging me to go back to the foundation. It's like, okay, are you ready to duplicate? Well, let's see this foundation. And I've been back doing my best to close as much leaks as I can
Yeah.
to be able to go back to my project. And now we've been working on scripts where there's a lot of growth that's happening in my city. City of San Fernando is it's an independent city, and that's why the San Fernando Valley is named after the city of San Fernando. And this platform is really, we've gained vision these past few months because I had to take a step back, and this is one of the things that I had to say no to for some time. And for me to realize my mission for the podcast. And I can confidently now say that our mission is to make San Fernando a blue zone city.
Ooh, that's huge. That is huge.
Yeah.
Okay, for some people that don't know what a blue zone is, tell me. That has been my reason of why I've been trying to get to Costa Rica. I'm like, "Hey, babes, it's blue zone. We can live there." But for some people that don't know what a blue zone is, can you briefly explain a little bit about
So blue zones are cities throughout the world where the communities live on average up to 100 years old. There's a Netflix series on it. I encourage you all to watch it. Just type in 100 years blue zone. And there's different cities throughout the world. You have Japan, you have Italy, you have Costa Rica is one of them, Greece. We actually have one here in California in Loma Linda. And the documentary talks about how these cities have four common things, denominators. And think about it, these are random cities throughout the world, have no really connection, although we're all connected somehow. The four things was one, they live an active lifestyle. In Japan, for example, they don't use furniture. Everyone is seating on the ground. You know, you're in these positions where your legs, you're able to flex. You're doing squats, standing up and down. You're gardening your garden. And example, Italy, it's seated on, the village is seated on hills. So it's a lot of up and downs. And then, for example, in Loma Linda, it is a Seventh-day Adventist community that has been established there for some time. And they have their own tennis courts and pickleball and swimming. And so that's the number one, right? So two is they actually consume majority of plant-based diet. Now, when I think about plant-based, I think that you are consuming majority of your energy, your nutrients from whole foods. And three, they socialize. They have connection.
Yep.
And for example, Italy, I know Singapore is the next up and coming blue zone. There's no retirement homes. Your elders live with you, stay with you. the families take care of each other, and there's wisdom in that.
Yeah.
But also, they don't die alone.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And 4 is they all have a purpose.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, in this country, there's people who are still living who have died a long time ago.
Ooh, yeah.
And it's digging within to find out that we all have a purpose in life.
Mm-hmm.
Although we are a speck compared to the universe, it's it all connects.
Yeah.
And this country unfortunately lives off of retirement.
Mm.
And I believe that we can all learn from each other, from our elders. And me growing up with a big loving Mexican family, my grandmother's siblings all are here in the San Fernando Valley. And I got to experience that. And I think we are more connected than ever, yet we're lonelier than ever.
Yep.
And I know I'm not going to lie, like these past few months of God showing me that vision, there's been nights where I just cry because it's so big and massive that it scares the heck out of me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But I had to realize and accept that maybe it might not happen in my lifetime, but I know it's a possibility that it can. And the city of San Fernando is going through um, some great changes.
Mm-hmm.
There's a downtown master plan that is happening that will be revitalization of our city, the downtown area specifically, that we probably won't be able to start to see the fruits of its labor 25 years from now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And what more than a perfect time to be able to start this project with a city that has the opportunity to set the tone to other areas of LA?
Yeah.
And I had to accept and say, well, maybe this podcast is something that I'm also going to build, and
Mm-hmm.
then being able to hand off
Yeah.
to groups of people,
Mm-hmm.
because I know that I I'm still my focus is on building ClimbFit Studio. And but I also feel that as I do that, that just doesn't mean that I still can't leave my heart here.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
And as business owners, we have to remember that we are not our business.
Mm-hmm. That is key. That is key.
The business is not human,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
we connect ourselves so much that it's hard to put our egos to the side. And going back to what I was saying is we can't do it all.
Yeah. Yeah. And being okay with that, and sometimes it's actually a lot of times it's best if we don't do it all. Right. But I think it's important to have that alignment with yourself to know what are the things I'm supposed to be working on and what is
Mhm.
it that someone else that they're working in their power should be working on, and how should I grow my team? One thing I really loved is how much you focus in on taking care of your team. And that is rare. A lot of owners think about, okay, let me get my team on the vision and the mission of what I'm trying to build. In that process, yes, that's important, but you rarely
Mhm.
see that follow back into pouring into the team and making sure they're okay and making sure they're able to keep going and they have what they need. So I really want to commend you for and just acknowledge that call out, that you're able to go back and like, no, let me take care of my team. Let me make sure I have the right people and that they are aligned and they have what they need to keep going.
And that's definitely a muscle, and everything takes reps. Because I can't say that I've always been like that.
Mm-hmm.
I've had to learn and experience certain people. Um, but more than anything, each one of those have taught me a lesson. And I used to want to be able to um, mold the role around the person.
Mm-hmm.
but you need to know the roles to be able to find the right people.
Yeah.
And that all starts with emotional intelligence
Mm-hmm.
and being able to understand what is your personality
Mm-hmm.
and also who is your opposite personality,
Yep. Mm-hmm.
and finding good team members who are your opposite, who will challenge you.
Mm-hmm.
Priscilla's outgoing. I'm, there's multiple personalities, but for the four common one, I'm the motivated by people. When I'm at events, I love to be the host of the event. I'm not a planner. I'm not analytical.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not data driven.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but that's why you need to overcome that. You're not, you need to overcome your opposite personality, and it's going to be a overcoming multiple times over different periods of times, and being open to feedback.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah, those are the soft skills.
Yeah, no, I think that's good too. And I think it goes back to knowing yourself and self reflection, and there's a lot of great assessments out there to know your personality type, to know your strengths, to know your weaknesses, to know how you operate within business, to know how you operate within your personal life as well too. And I think those are key markers to help you find and navigate your team. Even knowing your team's personality, are they more cautious? Are they more dominant when they present things? Knowing those markers also helps as a leader be able to help manage them in a way that is inspiring and not diminishing. Sometimes when we don't
Mm.
understand our team, we can diminish them, thinking that they need a certain type of like either training or guidance or just a certain type of communication, and they may need the exact opposite of that. So I think learning your team as well too, especially if you've already identified, okay, this is the person for the job, they can do the job, right? But it's not enough there. Also, you inspiring them to want to grow and then grow personally. If you grow within your working conditions, you're also going to grow personally too as well. So I think that's beautiful that you put that focus there. And yeah, it may not have been there when you were 21, and like learning the things, but to have that now and you're very, very young now, I think that's beautiful. And I think that's something a lot of owners and business founders can take on to their businesses as well. Because the one thing is, I go
Hmm.
back to what I'm seeing a lot with my clients is there's a lot of burnout of really, really great workers, really great employees, and they love their job. They love what they're doing, but the wellness and the health part of it isn't being taken care of, whether
Hmm.
it's mental, whether it's physical, and that piece is causing a lot of the burnout. And it's a miscommunication of things that aren't being communicated between the owner and, the team. So yeah, no, I love that, and I don't want to harp on that too much, but that hits on heart
No,
too. Yeah.
no, that was beautiful. You were like reading my mind the entire time. And going back, it's wellness in the workspace. And
Mhm.
now in today's age, you're walking on eggshells.
Yeah.
And a big part of it that I believe is lack of self-confidence,
Mhm.
self-esteem, low self-esteem. When you're not feeling better, you're not operating at your best. And unfortunately, we do take things we're more sensitive. And how can a business promote wellness in the workspace is through basic principles of encouraging them, to be living more of an active lifestyle. Um, and it's, the lifestyle, the foods we eat, the people we hang out with, the personal development that we can offer them. And your team will stay with you when they see the perks will benefit them.
Mhm. Mhm.
And going back to our Change Your Life program, we are, I know I'm getting ahead of myself. My GM is gonna scream when she hears me say this, but we are working on company wellness programs,
Yeah.
and the Change Your Life program will be the big aspect of a part of it. Is we can now use the program that we use for any office or any business, and it's really accountability.
Yeah.
But as individuals want to be part of something. And that's why gyms are so great, because you can build community and camaraderie
Mhm.
and healthy competition,
Mhm.
mental toughness, and it's the discipline of just showing up on the days that we don't want to.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good.
And when you know that others depend on you, your team, I like to always use the Apple motto as an example. Those that work for Apple, I have friends that used to work for Apple and still talk like if they still work for Apple, because that's the type of effect that Apple has.
Mm.
Because they allow, whether if you're a sales rep on the floor, anyone in the business, they have a credo that everyone wears on their lanyard. And a part of the credo basically says that they have permission to take ownership in certain decisions. And rather than you having to go to management, by you having ownership on making a decision in a scenario with the client, is going to make you want to show up more often, because you are a part of something that's greater. And
Yeah.
that goes back into being like, yes, we are spec. Let that part out. And yeah, that was it.
Oh, sorry, I messed you up with my
No,
call.
you're good. No, 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 no. That was it. That was it.
You were talking about the credo, though. I
Yeah.
think, yeah, I think that's awesome. I love it when the company makes you feel like, no, you are a part of the team. You don't work for me. You're a part of the team. So that's beautiful. I love that. And that comes with having a voice, right? And that circles back to what you were saying and finding your voice, and now it's the team being able to have their voice and even probably navigate their voice within the company too. So, yeah. Okay.
For sure.
So, what are two tools that your business could not live without?
In regards to just any business,
Anything. Let's say if we were going to do ClimbFit studios, right? What are two, or just in the fitness space, because you do so much within fitness. What are two tools that you use as an owner that you're like, oh my goodness, I couldn't live without these tools. They make my life so much easier. And it could be an
number one
app,
thing
it could be
is,
anything. Sorry.
it can be a what?
It
No,
could be
you're
an
good.
app, it could be anything.
Going back to soft skills,
Mm-hmm.
that is the one of the number one tools that as a business owner, just in any business, whether you're a health, also whether you're a health coach or anything, is those soft skills. And soft skills is the people skills. It's the empathy. I am in an industry that you see your clients almost every day.
Yeah.
Like, name another industry that you see your clients every day other than schools. But that's not really much of a comparison because you're working with children.
Mm-hmm.
I've had to learn how to use my voice, and as well as setting boundaries on who I give access to in these different circles.
Mm-hmm.
And soft skills really teaches you that,
Yeah.
is who are your flag carriers? Who are your those that will be able to lead your soldiers?
Yeah.
And I've been doing a more conscious effort on investing more time in my flag carriers
Mm-hmm.
to build leaders and to trust them, whether if it's the rest of the team or our clients.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, the hard skills is more of like the mechanical stuff, right? And I do believe as a CEO or as a business owner, there is some hard skills that you do need to an extent, but I believe that where it's really going to take you far is those soft skills to
Mm-hmm.
be able to build leaders.
Yeah. Gotcha. Mm-hmm. That's
And
good.
then the second one, I would say from a woman's perspective to women,
Mm-hmm.
being conscious of what energy you're operating in.
Ooh.
And more than anything, utilizing your feminine energy my director from the Dr. Yasmin program, she calls it graciously assertive, especially for women who are minority or who walk in rooms that are male dominated, is not trying to match energies. I do believe that you can match the level of the energies,
Mm-hmm.
but not matching in a masculine energy in a masculine environment or attempting to match, because I feel if you do attempt to match, you're actually like this.
Yeah.
But if you operate with empathy, compassion, definitely what dance has taught me is being aware of body language. 93 communication is nonverbal. It's the
Hmm.
tone, right? And it's being able to go from using a higher voice versus, just calming down. And I know that, you're married. You can probably explain that a little bit more than I can. I'm not married yet. However,
Yet
but I know
to be
God is
married.
preparing
Yes.
me. I know God is preparing me. Because as women, we have an opportunity to continue to add chaos to an environment or to bring harmony to an environment. And going back to me sharing about my father, uh, I am very respectful. And I would say now more, I've always been respectful to my father, but it's understanding that when we do have deep conversations and I have an opportunity to ask myself, if I continue to add on to this conversation, will it bring him more stress, or can I wait an extra day to continue this conversation? And the old Priscilla used to be like, nope, we're figuring this out now.
Mhm.
And that's who I was when I was operating in my masculine energy. Cause I'm like, cause everything was a competition to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Mhm.
And we as women have power. And this is coming from someone who talks a lot, but we have power in listening and not being emotional. Be emotional internally, feel what you feel, go through it. But there's a difference between being reactive versus proactive.
Mhm.
And more than anything, a lot of the emotional reactions that we have are sometimes just better off not even said.
Yeah. 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 You know what? I explain that a lot to my clients too, is like, it's okay to have emotions. They're great. They
Yeah.
are what makes us human, right? It's okay to be angry, to be frustrated, to be sad, to be disappointed, all of these things. The piece that matters is how we respond to that emotion, right? When we're angry, it's not okay to hit stuff and throw
Mm.
things and all of things like that, right? So there's certain behaviors that come after the emotion. That's the part that we have to work on regulating, whether it's yelling at someone or cursing somebody out or whatever the case may be. It's different things for different people, different things, different situations. But
Yes.
it's not the emotion, it's that reaction, that behavior after the emotion. The emotion is just giving us information that something feels, something's different, something's
Mhm.
happening, right? That's all it is. Emotion is information, and we feel it welling up, whatever it may be, whether it's love, whether it's excitement, whether it's nervousness, it's information, but it's how we respond to
So
it that
good.
matters. That's the key that we want to work on. Yeah. And not even just as people in general, right? Those are things that we have to work on. So yeah, I'm so glad you called that out, because there's a difference from the emotion and the reaction to the emotion, right? That's good. That's good. Awesome. Awesome. So what is the end goal for Priscilla? Is there an end goal? Do you see an end goal?
I don't know if there ever is an end goal. I feel that everything that I'm doing now is for generations, and
Yeah.
it's a different form of generational wealth.
Hmm.
Well, it's many forms of generational wealth. And when I think of generational wealth, I think about the family that I leave behind. And I am consciously putting myself in a position to also be able to be the partner that my future spouse needs, deserves, because I do know that my future partner also has a purpose and a big vision and will need someone by his side. Uh, but also I do want to have a family, and I want to be able to be there for my kids the way um, my parents were and my grandparents were for me. Thank God for grandparents because my parents had me young.
Mhm.
Even though my parents worked a lot, my dad was very involved in all my curricular activities, and grateful for cousins that I grew up with who were sisters.
Yeah.
And I do see the importance of being involved in your children's life. And I know that all the work that I'm doing is going to put me in a position to be able to prioritize
Yeah.
that stage of my life,
Yeah.
but also trust the people that I leave in all of my businesses to be able to do what they're good at.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. Good. I love that. So, what is wealth for you?
Health is wealth,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
But I think there's many versions of wealth, not only through, your spiritual health, your mental wealth, uh, but also the wealth of service to others.
Yeah.
And going back, if we don't prioritize our health,
Yeah.
we can't be of service of others. And as you grow, money does magnify who you really are.
Hmm. Hmm.
And if you're not right, if you're not happy where are at now, what makes you think you are happy and where you want to be?
Hmm.
And we've all heard of stories or people who have, quote unquote, have had success in their business or in the physical realm, but are depressed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there really is no true definition of success. We all define it differently. But wealth is doing the best that we can with what we have and what we can control
Hmm.
so that we can help more people.
Yeah. Good. I love that. Yeah. No, I subscribe to that. I love that. I love that. Okay, so now for our last bit, we have rapid fire. What rapid fire is
Ooh,
going to say this or that, or it'll be a very quick, short question that you have to just rapid fire an answer to, right? And you can explain like why you chose that one. So I don't want it to be so strict where it's like, you can explain why you chose. So
I can do
rapid
this.
fire round. Yes, you got this. Here we go. Physical workout or nutrition?
Sheesh, that's a tough one. I would say workout because if you're active, you can physically fight for your resources.
Mm, gotcha. Wow, you went to the fighting piece. Okay, yeah, yeah. Heels or flats?
Ooh, I don't like flats, but I like sandals, tennis shoes,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm also a girly girl and I don't mind getting dolled up from time.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so heels or tennis shoes?
Ooh, I would probably say to live tennis shoes for sure.
Okay. Podcasts or books?
Hmm, books.
Mm. Leg work?
Although I do like podcasts.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. Leg workout or arm workout?
Legs, baby.
Breakfast or dinner?
I would probably say dinner.
Okay. This next one is a little doozy. I'm going to warn you ahead of time. Masculine energy or feminine energy?
Feminine energy as a woman.
Yeah, okay. Something that you're really interested in right now.
I have a lot of interests.
Mhm.
Um, I would say more media in the marketing space. I uh, actually currently I have a marketing team 3 virtual assistants that I've been working with who are phenomenal. And
How did you find
it
them?
is so a friend and I are pretty much starting our own team together. And it's a long story on how it happened. However, they've been working with me since about December, and it really does take a team and a village. And I think more businesses should see themselves as marketing agencies,
Mm-hmm.
because if you do see that you are your own brand.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's been really interesting me about finding your voice um and realizing that you are your own brand.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Good. 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 Awesome. And congrats on that. That's awesome. Good. Well, Priscilla, thank you so much
It
for
takes
coming
a
on the
village.
show, sharing your wealth nuggets with us. We really appreciate it. Where can people find you if they want to reach out to you?
Yeah, you can help me at Healthy with Pris on Instagram. I am going to be doing a lot more educational content on YouTube, TikTok. But you can find my businesses at San Fernando Fitness, also at ClimbFit Studio, and then also my podcast at San Fernando Podcast. But if you just go to my page, you'll see all the links there, and all the projects that we've been working.
And one more thing before you go. If you've enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe, leave it 5 stars, and share it with a friend. That incredibly helps our channel out. And we don't want you to miss any amazing nuggets that could change your life in any way or someone you know. So please share this with a friend and remember, you have the power to design your remarkable life.